Hello, my name is Gwyn Taylor.
And I'm Sarah Ellen Whitford.
And today we're discussing the article entitled Influences of Riparian Logging and In-Stream Large Wood Removal on Pool Habitat and Salmonid Density and Biomass, a Meta-Analysis, by Eric Molina and Scott G. Hinch. This article is looking to find conclusions from a larger amount of worldwide data on what the effects of streamside logging and large wood removal have on salmonid populations and what other stream components influence these effects.
Due to the incredible diversity of conclusions and data from worldwide data on this topic, the authors conducted a meta-analysis in an attempt to find some recognizable patterns within this data. They decided to focus on specific variables to narrow their findings to find the most influential of variables.
So what they did was take data from 37 studies that were used to assess whether the effects of streamside clear-cut logging on large wood, pool size and number, and summertime salmonid density and standing crop biomass were influenced by stream size and gradient, time since logging was last conducted, and removal of in-stream large wood. This shows the specific variables that the authors decided to study.
Studies were centered on Pacific Northwest regions, but varied with data from Sweden, the east coast of Canada and America, and most of this data, it should be known, was collected in coastal areas and coastal climates. This is good to keep in mind because as we go to more boreal and drier sites, those would have different soil composition and thus less erosion and loss of large wood debris, and thus having different outcomes in the study we are currently looking at. The data was only collected during April to October, without bias to snow and rain-dominated regimes.
The authors wanted to know if the impacts of logging affected biotic and abiotic variables differently, depending on stream size, gradient, time since logging last occurred, amount of large wood debris, and whether the large wood debris had been removed or not. The timeline of 1 to 100 years means that the authors used studies that looked at the effects of logging in riparian zones with a timeline of 1 year, or 30 years, or 100 years, etc. The study is a metadata analysis of multiple pieces of literature. They were used to compare collected data in different ways with different variables to find general patterns and conclusions.
They concluded that the majority of surveyed studies reported negative post-logging responses for large wood and pool habitat, but positive ones for salmonid density and biomass, with the most detrimental effects generally being seen in streams that were thoroughly cleaned of large wood. These results suggest that over the time frame during which the studies were conducted, from 1 to 100 years, streams whose riparian areas were logged may be able to sustain salmonid populations and even exceed pre-harvest levels as long as rigorous removal of in-stream large wood is avoided. Abiotic and biotic post-logging practices were not strongly influenced by stream size or gradient, nor did they appear to be influenced by the amount of time that had elapsed since logging last occurred.
So here we took a table from the reports, and the table shows the average post-logging response within recently logged, second growth, and stream-cleared streams. And looking at the table, we're able to see that in most cases, the streams that were non-cleaned were much more productive compared to those that had been cleaned. The salmonid populations benefited from having large wood debris in the stream that created safe habitat zones.
Although the authors admit that the relevance of their findings were questionable, as large wood removal is restricted in most places now, they argue that the study acts as a guide for streamside management strategies for determining the relevant variables for a healthy stream ecosystem. For example, large woody debris being a major component of stream and salmonid health habitat, compared to components such as stream size, gradient, and time since last logged, which had minimal impact. Thanks for listening!